It is my privilege to introduce our next honoree, a person with whom I have the honor and benefit of working with as a member of the Massachusetts Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. As a member of the board, she is an advocate for educational equity, for the diversification of our education workforce, teachers and administrators, and an advocate for student success. None of this is unusual if you consider that her day job is as the CEO and co-founder of Latinos for Education, which has as its mission to develop, place, and connect Latino leaders in the education sector, and to allow their talents to influence and develop that system so that it can be the most beneficial that it can be for the success of Latino students. And so without further ado, permit me to introduce our next honoree, Amanda Fernandez.
So first, I am a mom, I'm a spouse, and I'm a proud first-generation Latina, and recently added to that list, CEO and founder of Latinos for Education. We're a growing national nonprofit dedicated to developing, placing, and connecting essential Latino leadership in the education sector. I'm a passionate advocate for equity in education, and believe that we can't achieve equity in education unless we are represented as teachers and leaders from the schoolhouse to the state house, reflecting the diversity of our population. I feel like I've had access to great privilege, and so it's my responsibility to do the proverbial pay it forward and feel like it's my responsibility to feel like I can have an impact, like actually believe that I can have an impact.
Yeah.
Which isn't something that as immigrants, we're kind of taught to sort of, be here to work hard and achieve the dream, but no one really ever tells us what we might be capable of, or this type of impact that we might have in showing a pathway to others about ways that they can engage and become active and believe that they can make sort of big societal differences. Building social capital and extending social capital is a way of life for me and for the work we do at Latinos for Education. It's part of the fabric of why we exist, because for too long, communities of color, Latinos, African Americans, and other racial and ethnic groups have not been invited to that proverbial table where social capital is shared and extended to others. So I think we impact in three ways through our work at Latinos for Education. First, it's through our programs. So our programs are specifically designed to increase the representation of Latinos on education nonprofit boards of directors, as well as increasing leadership representation within education institutions and other education nonprofits. So by design, we bring together cohorts of Latino leaders to start building the social capital they need to access and to have influence and impact in those particular institutions. These leaders are impacting every day by bringing their valuable perspective and their shared experience of being Latino in America. That's one way. The second way is through our advocacy work. So we're beginning to raise much more awareness with legislators, the broader education ecosystem, and others that Latinos are the future of our country, just given the sheer size of our demographic. And we must do more to ensure that Latino community is a priority. And it's not because other groups don't have a priority, it's simply because of our sheer size that we believe that if we can focus on Latino student success through our advocacy, that it's a boat that can lift all tides. The last thing I'll say around impact is, I would say, sort of propelling us more quickly is the launch of a technology platform that we've recently been able to launch called Ed Centro. And it's called Ed Centro because it's the central place where Latino educators can meet virtually. And it's a mechanism we've created so that we can build the kind of social capital by connecting Latinos in education to one another, to job opportunities, and to mentorship across the country. And we wouldn't normally be able to do that if we didn't have technology as a lever. I would say that this pandemic has again accelerated the need to create those networks, to strengthen those networks, and to come together on this very serious issue, pandemic, that's been affecting the Latino community. Unfortunately, Latinos have been disproportionately affected, as you know, by the COVID-19 virus. And it's deeply concerning to us that our community is being so deeply impacted. At the same time, while it's unfortunate that the spotlight is on African American and Latino communities, at the same time, it allows us to actually continue to elevate the voice and continues to help us expand and educate broader society about the impact of lack of education and lack of social structures and access that our communities have. So it's almost a dichotomy in that because our community is being affected in the way that it is, it's also shining a light that needs to be shined brightly and needs to continue to be a focus in order for us to have an opportunity to make a change for the better for our community. I encourage folks that as part of the way you think about building social capital is about putting forward your ideas and to start getting people behind those ideas. I never would have thought that was possible, but it's possible. And I just encourage in particular our young people of color and our activists and leaders in our communities that aren't necessarily tapped as leaders to do that, because you will bring people with you just by virtue of that desire that you have to see change.